Hi all, so sorry about the problems this evening. You know what fixed it? The good old restarting your computer. And now I have audio again. So sorry about that. But let me take a minute and go over the assignments for this week. And then if you have any additional questions on top of that, just let me know. By the way, I am using a tool called Screencast-O-Matic. It is so easy to use. You don't even have to really install anything. Just go to their website, you click on record, it launches this recorder thing, and you can start recording your screen and narrating. It's great to narrate, PowerPoint presentations. You could use it as a teacher for flipped learning, or you could have your students do it for some sort of project or demonstration of learning. So just a side note there. Looking at week 5, we do have a signature assignment due this week, which I'll go over. And then the usual suspect, the journal discussion. And hopefully you're continuing working on that wonderful thematic unit. The journals were much better last week, so thank you. And the discussion is kind of cool this week. You get to look at Google Earth, Google Maps, and then a video analysis of China through mapping. We kind of forget about geography and mapping as part of social studies sometimes, I think. But it can be really interesting, especially with all the cool technology tools we have. All right, so let's take a look at your signature assignment. This is essentially part 2. And again, this assignment very much gets you ready for your TPAs. This simulates one of the TPA tasks that you have to do, where you have to observe a class and then design a lesson with that particular class in mind, considering the needs of those particular students. So think about the teacher interview and observation that you did in week 3. Now you have to design a lesson for that class. I bet you the first thing you're wondering is, can I use this lesson for my thematic unit? Well, most likely yes. The only way I would say no is if the teacher who you observe would really use this lesson, or maybe allow you to teach this lesson in his or her class as part of your week 8 assignment where you have to videotape a lesson. So if this teacher was working on, whatever, I was going to say solar system, that's not social studies. If they were working on economics and your thematic unit is on the gold rush, then that won't work. However, you just have to design a lesson with this class in mind. You don't necessarily have to teach it to this class. So could you design a lesson that fits in your thematic unit that also considers the students and the needs of that class? Yes, I think that's very much possible. So can you double dip on this assignment? I don't see why not. I think there's a lot of double dipping going on, right? So for this assignment, you have to use this template, fill out all the blanks. It's kind of thorough. That's what we'll call it. It is thorough, but it's what you'll have to do later on for your TPAs. And it makes you think, because as a beginning teacher, yes, you can plan a lesson, but now you're required to think about every step. Now, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And I think it's good practice, especially for you to be an expert lesson designer as you get more experience. So thinking about your interview and the classroom observation, you have to design a lesson for that particular class of students. Take into account what you learned about the students' characteristics when planning the lesson. All right, and then include references to what you learned about the class. So in other words, when it says, well, why did you do that? You say, oh, well, I remember that there was an English learner from Cambodia who doesn't speak a Latin dialogue or whatever. I'm making stuff up right now. But in other words, use specific references of why this particular accommodation, modification, strategy, assessment technique works for this particular class. You need to design student activities or assignments that can be assessed with multiple criteria for measuring student performance. The suggestion is design an assignment that is project-based. Remember, we don't want to make social studies boring. So what are some of the cool things that we talked about last week that could make a social studies lesson really engaging? Do that. Do something fun and exciting. Make that your normal way of teaching. Think about assessment. Assessment is important in this. This is what you have to fill out. So there's some questions to fill out in the beginning. And then you're going to fill out this chart. All right, I think we've had this in another class as well. So this is not something that you'll only see once. Explain what you're going to do in this middle column, and then your rationale is in the third column. All right, what activities, what materials. All right, and then the last part is thinking about your adaptations, your potential problems, and then, you know, what could go wrong and what's your plan B. I really want to encourage you to look at the rubric. This is an assignment that is turned in live text. So your grade and your comments will be in live text, but just your grade alone will be found in Blackboard. So if you're like, hey, why did I get 5 points taken off? And it doesn't say, you have to go to live text to find the comments. Because this is a signature assignment, I very closely follow that rubric. You have the rubric right here. So if you want exemplary, go down this column and make sure you're doing all of those things. Because I have to kind of really go through this pretty carefully when it comes to signature assignments. All right, so just use the rubric. Make sure you look it over before you write your lesson. Oh, I just got rid of everything. Really, that just happened. And it's in, you know, I recorded it. That's awesome. Just another day, guys. But really, that was kind of all I wanted to say. Just make sure that you understood the signature assignment for this week and that you have the other usual assignments. But if you have any questions, something didn't make sense, please make sure that you email me or text me and I can answer those questions. But hopefully I explained it well enough. And the directions are here, the template is here. Yeah, that's about it, guys. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hope you guys have a good night. And I will see you all this time next week. Well, it's 7:43. So yeah, I guess I will. All right, bye.